Hi everyone and welcome back to Chess for Charity. In this video, I'm going to show you a cool puzzle where it is white to play and win in 7 moves. See if you can find the answer. It's not too crazy, but it's a really beautiful puzzle. While you're thinking about the solution, let me also encourage you to subscribe if you have not yet already. Half of the income that I earn in this channel goes directly to charity, so every like, every subscribe, all that stuff helps us out so much. And it also helps out charity. So let's get started here. Let's talk about the puzzle. One thing to note right away are these pawns. Black's king is entombed. It cannot go anywhere. And the same is for the white king. The white king can't go anywhere. Kind of an odd situation where both kings are stalemated, right? Well, that's going to factor into the puzzle. So it's white to move. Let's do the obvious. If they promote the pawn, if we promote the pawn as the white pieces, they check you, and no matter how you take, it's going to be stalemate. Because if you take with the bishop, the king is, like I said, cut off, can't move, and none of the pieces can move. That's stalemate. Same idea with the bishop, with the queen. Both the bishop and the queen function in the same way in this case. Okay, what about if you promote to something else? So we went to a queen, what about a knight? If you go to the knight, same exact situation. Check, you can't move your king, because like I said, there's nowhere to move. Well, that means you have to take the thing that's checking you. And now it's stalemate again. And of course, I'll skip the rook for a moment. Of course, it's the same with the bishop. This is the exact same situation. So then it leads you to think, the rook. Great. After they check you, what do? Do you take with the bishop or do you take with the rook? Well, you can tell by the way I'm color coding it, the rook. Because the whole point is to now allow them movement of this rook. This is not stalemate. They have a few options. 1, 2, 3. So in this situation, if black goes rook f6, maybe the idea is to try to stalemate themselves. It's not even working. You can take with the king if you wanted to. You can also take with the rook and make it mate. But if you want to be mean, you could play here. They have a move, and then you can do anything you wanted. And that's mate, by the way, on this diagonal. So they can't play here because if they do, the most obvious, I should have just said this is the most obvious way to win, but it's also cool to take with the king. And the same goes with g7. They go here, you take it. That's mate. So instead, they play the only move that makes sense, which is rook g8. They're attacking you. So for example, if you take this pawn, just as an example, you're giving check. They can take this, and yes, you're still winning, but it's not mate in 7 anymore. Maybe you play rook b7 or rook g7, push the pawn up the board, whatever you want to do. There are a lot of ways to win it. I'd play king d6 personally. I'd do this. I want to give this pawn some movement because I'm always afraid of stalemate, but you can play it however you want to play it. That's one of the reasons why they're playing this move. So what do you play in this position? If you go down the board, maybe you thought something like this to get over here, it's not going to work because they take you and you're not in time. This actually loses the game because that's a skewer. Maybe the thought is, hey, I'm going to hold this square. Nope, you're going to lose the game. So that would hurt. So you have to be a little careful if you're not thinking all the way through. But the right move in this position is rook to f8 check. Check, of course, with the bishop. They only have one move. They have to drop back. And now we're in a very similar position, but now the pawn, instead of it being here, now it's a rook. So what is the move in this position? From here, it's mate in 4. See if you can figure out the mate in 4. Maybe it's really hard, maybe it's not. Take a second. So you might have an instinct to go, hey, I'll play this move. Looks kind of cool, right? They take me, and maybe I find a cool way to take, and then take this with checkmate. I like the idea, but unfortunately it's stalemate. They don't have a move. So, cool idea, but it doesn't work. Extend that idea. Instead of putting the rook here, maybe here or here. One of these. Well, if you put it on f4, that's the way to do it. Because what happens is they take, and now what do? So, do you take with the king? Do you take with the pawn? Do you do something else? You take with the king. The whole idea is you want to keep this king out. And if you were to take him with the pawn, you're not keeping this king out of here. And more importantly, this pawn is a runner and you're going to lose the game. So you have to take with the king. And now it's a mate in 2. Hopefully you can find it. It's not too hard now. The first move is their only legal move, which is e5 check. Now, what do you do? Do you take with the king? Do you take with the pawn? Do you move away? Do you go up the board? What do you do? Only one of them is mate in 2. The most straightforward win is king to f5. What is that doing? Blocking this king out. If you were to take here, what does that allow? That allows king g5, and this is a draw. Ouch. Not fun, right? Okay. So instead, you do not let the king out. You play king f5, blocking this, and they have 2 moves. They can take or they can push. It doesn't matter. And now what happens is, boom, checkmate on board. Really cool puzzle. I really like the way this one goes. It's kind of hard in the beginning, and there are a lot of ways to go wrong. But once you see this idea that you have to give up the rook on this square, it all makes so much sense. I should point out you can't do it on this square because of what I mentioned. This pawn is just too fast. You can check to deflect away, but you can't exactly do it fast enough. Something like this, yeah, they have other pawns. So they can play here, they can play there, they can push these pawns down the board. They're going to win the game. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you want to see the whole thing one more time, you can just watch it play out. Really cool puzzle. Thank you to William for sharing this puzzle with me. I love that king move. King f5 is definitely the way to do it. Yeah, I was showing this variation. There you go. Perfect. So yeah, that is the puzzle. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe. Until next time, bye.